All right, it's 5:30 and it is Monday, the 11th of February, 2019. So call to order the regular meeting of the Madison Central School District. Mr. Brooks will record the members present or absent, and we do have a quorum. So next I'd invite everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business is item number 5, approval of the agenda. I believe we have no changes, so at this point in time, I would entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Miller has the motion, Mrs. Sims has the second. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the agenda as posted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the agenda as approved. Next is approval of consent items. Item number 7 is our minutes, both from the 14th regular meeting and the February 4th special meeting. And then Mrs. Sims and I went through the the bills and things. Mr. Hanemichael is out this evening, so the two of us went through those. And then that brings us down to personnel actions. So, Mr. Jorgensen, anything on personnel action?
Just the one personnel action, and that's for a special ed substitute driver, Deanna Smithers, at the rate of $12.68 per hour.
Okay. So those would be our consent items and our agenda of items 7 through 9. I would entertain a motion to have those approved.
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz has that. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion regarding the consent items? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that those have been passed. Anyone here wishing to address the board? Seeing none, then we're on to the administrator's report. We've got Mr. Cook's administrator report, which was linked. Mr. Jorgensen, on to you, then.
I've got a really nice report typed up and obviously sitting on my desk, so I'll wing it, I guess. Right now we're tracking about 60 bills that are going on right now dealing with education. When I say tracking about 60, there's some of those that have already been deferred to the 41st day. Some are moving through the process, and some are yet to even be heard. There's about, I believe it's 7 shell bills out there right now that have nothing in them. And it's all said and done, some others will get combined into that one bill as a vehicle bill. We'll see where it ends up. So the next few weeks, things will start to move along a little bit faster as they start getting through the committees and getting into the different floors and the different sides. I want to congratulate the gymnastics team on their performance this last weekend as well, getting 4th in the state. I was in Pierre in the end of January, and there was a group of administrators that presented to the joint House Ed and Senate Ed committees. I covered CTE and workforce development. We covered teacher shortage, school funding, mental health, juvenile justice, vaping, extraordinary cost funds. We had, I won't say we had every member of both committees, but we had a lot of them there, and then we had some additional legislators that were there for the presentation too. It was a little over an hour. It was good feedback on it. It was just pointing out the pluses and minuses in all those areas that we're dealing with right now. So with that, it was a nice cold couple days in Pierre, like it normally is. So that's about all I have for you off my memory anyway.
Mr. Brooks, you have anything? Just a couple of items. We had our training with Mr. Rohr, and we extended him beyond his hours of what he was going to do, so I think that was good. I think it was a very beneficial time for us. And if anyone is interested, next Tuesday is legislative day for ASBSD out in Pierre. We need to let them know if you're planning to attend the luncheon on Tuesday. So that's all I have. Next, the presentation of some certificates.
Yes. Received this from President of the ASBSD, you may know him, Tom Farrell. Recognition of School Board Recognition Week, which will be February 28th through the 22nd. So enclosed with this recognition, we have certificates for the board. And on behalf of the district, I'd like to thank you for your service. I'll give this one to Mr. Farrell, the main one, that came in. And then each board member. There's also a certificate for a lunch at school
All right.
Wonderful, thank you.
to be used by board members, not their children.
That's my next question.
And just thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Kimmerer, I think you're up.
Yes, it is our annual time we have to look at the South Dakota Comprehensive Plan. It's our procedures that we use in special education. It has not changed for the last 3 or 4 years. And so it's just that you know it's there. It's always in the superintendent's office if you ever want to read through it.
All right. So then we need to acknowledge that we have been
Yes.
told that.
Yes.
All right? So I would entertain a motion that we are aware of the South Dakota Comprehensive Plan. So moved by Mrs. Sims. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Cecil. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of acknowledging the South Dakota Comprehensive Plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Thank you for the brevity. On to number 14 then, approval of the school district calendar.
Like I mentioned last month, the only major change, or not even major, I guess real change, was in the past, we've gone that Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday, Tuesday for in-service. This year, what we've, after a number of meetings talking about it, we went to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we have the open house on the 21st, so Monday and Tuesday would be off. The 21st Wednesday would be open house, which would correspond with this year, and then we'd start on Thursday. That is pretty much the main change. Want to scroll down a little bit, Steve? Yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much the main change of the calendar from what we adopted this year. Would be done the 20th, graduation would be the 17th. Again, all pretty much correspond.
I had one note just in September, just on the call-outs over to the right, changing September 3rd to just state September 2nd to correlate with, in the red.
Correct, yeah,
Yep.
we'll get that corrected, thank you.
One question, on January 20th, Martin Luther King Day, it says usually a PB day?
Yeah, it'll be a professional development day. We've done that in the past with West Central, when we go down to Hartford. And we're still talking whether we will continue with that, or if we'll look at doing something different on that day, but it will be a professional development day.
Further comments on the calendar? If not, then I would entertain a motion that we approve the calendar.
So,
Mrs. Sims makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Schultz. Further questions or discussion? Thank you for your work on that, Mr. Jorgensen, and your group. All right. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the district calendar signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Declare that that's passed. Item number 15, accept the Quam and Berglund audit report. We'll now do the quiz over your required reading. No.
I'll just kind of bring it to the highlight pages, but if you go, page 18 is probably the one that most people have, want a viewpoint. That's the page that shows where our fund balances started for the year and where they finished for the year and what the change was. It's kind of a sideways page. It's actually 3 pages, but the page 18 is what shows the net effect on it. right there.
Oh, did I pass it?
Yeah,
This
so you
one?
can see right in this line, this is where we finished the year in each fund, general fund, capital outlay fund, and this is where we started the year, and this is what the change was. So that's kind of the year recap all in one. Under the old fund balance calculation, we were at 31.6%. Under the new cash balance calculation, we're at 23.1. So we're general funds, so we were within all of our limits there.
So we were where again, Mitch, on the new one?
Under the new 23.1.
Okay.
Yeah. In all the next following pages, you'll see lots of charts and stuff. That's all the GASB, so it books all of our depreciations, our pension funds, and all that kind of stuff. And so that's not necessarily showing cash, it's showing liabilities. If you look through that, you'll kind of see that. The other page that's kind of a highlight page is on page 60 and 61, which is about the last couple pages. This is where we report any findings. On page 60, they talk about other post-employment benefits. It's called OPEB. They give an unmodified opinion. We don't report this number. We would have to pay in order to get it. And the number really doesn't mean anything. It's just an estimated liability of what we owe in pension, which is like maybe health insurance to retirees. So instead of paying for this, we save the funds and we don't report. So they give us an unmodified opinion. That's been the same every year for many years. Then on page 61, the one finding they had, the same finding we've had every year for many, many years, but it's called a significant deficiency. There's two levels. There's a material weakness, significant deficiency. A material weakness is the highest level. That's a severe one. A significant deficiency, which sounds worse, is actually not much of a thing. But what it means is when we record revenues, how many people we have in the process. And we have 3. They recommend like 5 to 7, kind of that. But that doesn't really make sense for us to employ others to for that. I do argue with you that's not material. The fact that we don't bring in a lot in our gate receipts and things like that. But that is our one finding each year. And so that's kind of the main points and highlights over there. If you look through, you can see where our debt falls, where our liabilities and assets sit, and all of that. And then we have that electronic copy here, the booklet in front of you is for you to take as a board member. Any questions anyone has on that?
I think probably all but the very largest of the school districts in South Dakota have that same weakness listed for them in terms of that.
Pretty much every city, school, and county have that same thing listed.
And you can see the corrective action that we're trying to put in place on that very last page on page 62. If someone wants a real enjoyable opportunity, right, Candy, they can come listen to that exit audit.
Yeah.
Further questions or discussion? With that, then we would need a motion to accept the Quam and Berglund audit report.
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Mrs. Sims, further questions or discussion? Mr. Brooks, thanks for your work and with that, with the auditors and things. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the Quam and Berglund audit report, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay? Declare that we have accepted it. Next, we have to accept some money from First Madison Insurance.
And what this is, a program that started, First Madison's our insurance agent, EMC's our underwriter. They came out with a program for schools that if you implement the program, follow the program, and complete any corrective actions that they find in it, then you become part of their rebate program. And so we met all the requirements for this. It has with school safety, camera systems, door locking systems, snow removal plans, how we store our chemicals in our classrooms, and and that, and so they come through and do a review of what we have in place, and we met requirements, and so, they issued us a check, part of our rebate for $4,337.60, which then we'll take off of the premium we paid, but we'll cash that. But that's a very nice thing. We weren't sure how the program was gonna work. It's very beneficial. They give us lots of resources, things to look at. They took our snow removal plan though, and they're using it as the one they're showing other schools for how to do it, because we have a big color-coded chart on what we do, but that was kind of nice too.
Did you say that was the first year for this?
This is, yeah.
Okay, and so this was an annual rebate,
Um,
just after 1 year?
Yeah, this is for 2018. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to accept that money.
I will make that motion.
Okay, Mrs. Sims makes the motion, and Mr. Nelson says he'd be happy to receive that on behalf of the district. Also, so we have motion and a second to receive the School Safety Group dividend from First Madison Insurance. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On to item number 17 then, consider facilities operation options, not operations, option study. Mr. Jorgensen.
I've been in contact with some different firms, and one of the items that came out of our goal setting was, we have our demographic study now, showing us what the projections are over the next 10 years as far as the growth. We know where we're at right now, and our elementary is pretty full. We don't have an open room down there. So I met from different groups, and what I'm bringing forward is from Pitts. Mike Jameson from Pitts met with us. This would be sort of a starting point for us to look at what options are out there as we plan for the next 10 years. So it's objectives for the next 10 years for our facilities, develop potential options. So in other words, we're not saying that the option is we need to add on the elementary, or we need to put a wing on the middle school, or grade, or separate attendance. We're asking what are options that would be out there that would fit into what we're seeing for the next 10 years. So this would take all of our existing floor plans, look at them. It would come up with bubble drawings. So in other words, it won't be in great detail. It's not going to be architectural drawings that are going to show you where every stud and everything else goes in there. But it would give you an idea if something was done to the elementary, for example, down the road, here's what you could do. Because the next question is, where can we, if we were doing something there, can we go to the west? Would we have to go to the north? What would we have to do? It would show those diagrams. If we were doing something different with the entrance on the middle school, like we've talked about for a number of years, or if we're looking at adding something here, or if it's a separate site altogether, whatever it may be, give us a list of options, whether it's 2, 3, 5, whatever it may be, and then along with that would be cost projections on estimates on what something would cost in each one of those areas. Sort of give us a starting point, basically, to build off of. So when that's all said and done, they follow up with a final report. We'll review all the options and just basically give us something to start with and look at to see, oh, yeah, we didn't think about that, here's something maybe we could have done. And checking with a number of the companies, they were by far the most reasonable, and they're wanting to get going and doing some of this work for us. So again, it would be a $3,000 commitment plus tax to enter into this, to have them start doing this work, and to give us some direction for planning for the future as far as our facilities, what may or may not be available for us.
So the 3,000 would get, they'd come in, they'd do this study, and then they would present to us as
Correct.
options for
Correct.
that, right?
Yep.
Okay, we
So it's
can-
not even saying this is the direction we're going.
Right.
It's just what's available, options that are out there. How can we make this work as we look at the next 10 years?
Did they give a turnaround time at all, what they thought, how long?
I guess I didn't ask that question, but I think they will jump into it pretty quickly, and I mean, it's a pretty reputable company.
I would assume some of that may have to depend upon when the snow disappears.
Yeah.
That could be too. So it could be a while.
July, maybe?
No.
You and Steve don't want that, do you?
I'll move to approve.
All right. We have a motion, is there a second to enter into the study with Pitts? So moved by Mr. Stoltz, second. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of entering into the facility option study signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that is passed. Sue or Chuck, anything else that you folks need?
Oh, I have a couple of questions to ask, if I could.
Okay.
Have a few minutes.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.